East. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito along with Wally Zerbiak. Alan Hahn watching from home and joining us from home. Alan, the Knicks had an 18-point lead in the first half, 17-point lead in the third quarter, went ice cold down the stretch, and yet they're able to pull it out.
Still getting it done. I mean, again, that's what we've learned about this team. But I'll tell you what, we'll talk about how the offensive possessions were a little rough. They couldn't make a shot to close the game out. But I got to talk about how hard that defense played. As you know, the Hornets did make some shots. They got back into this game. The Knicks defense held the Hornets to 10 points in the last 12 minutes of the game. Think about that. 7 minutes to go. The only Hornet to score was Terry Rozier for the rest of the fourth quarter. And then, obviously, in overtime, they hold them to 5. So, I mean, their defense stayed locked in. And how many times, Wally, do you see that when a team struggles offensively, it affects them defensively? Didn't happen in this game this afternoon, and that's what this team's been all about all year.
Alan, I know you were never worried. I was never worried. Panic Pito over here, whoa. He was losing his mind after regulation. I mean, the Knicks...
Listen to me. Listen to me. Hold on. They didn't score a point in the final 4:34. Okay?
That's
the
right.
defense is fine.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Their defense was outstanding. Julius Randle is going to be their engine, obviously. He's going to have to make plays in the fourth quarter. They had shooters surrounding him. He couldn't get anything going down the stretch. Their defense kept him in the game. He stuck with the lineup, Tom Thibodeau did. He went to his dry erase board. He drew up some plays in the break going into overtime. And what did the Knicks do? Blow the Hornets out of the water. They don't change the lineup. They go with a defensive mindset first. That's how this team wins basketball games, Bill. They stop people.
Amen.
They know eventually Julius Randle's going to figure it out on offense. He's going to create shots for his teammates. They're going to knock down a few threes. They're not going to go through a drought for that long. Every move that Thibs does works. Don't panic, Pito.
All right.
No panic, Pito, all right?
A little hot in here. I don't know what you were doing in the basement, Alan, but take us through the fourth quarter. As you point out, the Hornets only scored 3 points in the final 4:34, which is a good thing because the Knicks didn't score any points. So the defense, obviously, as you guys are talking about, was up to the task down the stretch.
Yeah, and as we talked about, the Hornets were desperate in this game, you know, so even though they were down by 17 in the third quarter, they had to keep playing hard, and that's certainly what they did. And Devontae Graham, I mean, did he get it going or what? I mean, he was something else. Hard to stop on the outside and also on the inside. How about the roll and the drive? 97-93. But the Knicks keep battling. Look at that pass and the play, and there's your alley-oop to Nerlens Noel, who was fantastic in this game. Julius Randle. The Knicks didn't make any threes in the second half, like they were red hot in the first half. They couldn't make one in the second half, but he knocks down that one. And it's 102-101. And here we go again. A nice little jump shot, knocks it down. Again, 104-101. But the Knicks couldn't hold that lead as Rozier. Here are the only points they score. There's 2. He made a free throw as well. That's the 3 points we were talking about. We are tied. Devontae Graham for the win. No, missed it by a bunch. Boy, that was an absolute air ball for a guy that was locked in. You thought at that moment on that play, you're thinking he was feeling it. Maybe he knocks that down, but he doesn't, Wally. And you know why? Contested on that shot. Defensive pressure forced him into an unbalanced shot at the end, and the Knicks took it from there in OT.
I'll tell you, I was a little worried when Devontae Graham was that open to win the game because remember...
a little concern, huh?
A little concern.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Because he broke the Knicks' hearts a few years ago when he knocked down a 3 at the end of the game. Remember, he hit a buzzer beater at the Garden a few years ago. Might have been last year. But listen, the Knicks' defense was tremendous. They couldn't get anything going offensively. Randle struggled a little bit. There was a lot of one-on-one in the fourth. But Tom Thibodeau drew up some plays. They worked in OT.
All right, let's go over this because the Knicks in the first half from downtown, 12 out of 19.
Right.
Then they go 2 for their next 15, as Alan touched on. And yet the overtime rolls around. All of a sudden, they're hitting the 3 ball again.
Yeah, the overtime was great. And it started with the first possession. Julius Randle got himself to the free throw line. I thought he was settling a little bit too much for some of the outside jump shots and the one-on-one moves. And he's got to use his body and steal some points at the line. And that's what he did. And then after that, what a play. Just put his head down, drove to the basket, drew defense, gets Burks that wide open 3, 109-104. And the next possession, similar play, finds Reggie Bullock in the corner. Knicks lead 112-104. They start overtime on an 8-0 run. Then Nerlens Noel with the bucket down low. Huge. He had tip-ins. He had tip-backs to get extra possessions in the overtime. Alec Burks, tough little lefty floater. That was the icing on the cake, sealed the win, 116-106. The way they started that overtime, Alan, was outstanding. It was phenomenal. That gives you a lot of excitement in the playoffs when you know they can execute down the stretch of close games. You know Tom Thibodeau can make the necessary in-game adjustments to see how a team is defending Julius Randle and find guys open looks. You know, that's encouraging the way they play in overtime, Alan. I'm really excited for tomorrow's game and the playoffs to come.
Yeah, they were determined, right? To turn off the water, that's enough. And maybe there's a difference between the Knicks having a little more veterans than the Hornets did in a big game like that. But, you know, the three-point shot wasn't falling. And Bill was talking about how the offense, it was a struggle for them. They could not make a shot. And while you were right, I mean, it did feel like maybe Julius was settling, but they were getting good shots. And you had to feel like just stay with it. You're going to get – Alec Burks had a couple at the rim that just rolled out. Julius had a couple of attempts, jumpers that just kind of bounced out. It wasn't like they were having bad possessions. They just weren't finishing the possessions. Nerlens with those two big tap-backs that you talked about, huge in overtime, getting that second possession, and they cashed in on both of them. It's the extra effort. It's how hard this team has played all season, at least especially in the second half, which is the reason why you stay calm and you watch this team just get it done, and that's what they've been doing of late.
Noel, 11 rebounds, 5 blocks, and let's give Randle his due with the full line in the box score.
Triple-double.
33 points, 13 assists, and 10 rebounds. His sixth, Allen, and you're the historian, 6 triple-double for Randle. The team record for most triple-doubles in a single season is 8.
Right, but exactly, by Walt Clyde Frazier, our very own. And, of course, Michael Ray Richardson had a couple. I think he and Ray Williams might have had 7 as well. So what he's done in the history of the Knicks is something pretty special, where he's ranking now up there with the season that he has had. And as I mentioned, you know, in the pregame, he is averaging now officially, it'll be a 2010 season for him no matter what happens tomorrow. And the Knicks that have led the Knicks to the playoffs, averaging 20 and 10, all of them are Hall of Famers, and he's having that kind of season.
Man, it's exciting. It's going to go right down the wire.
Yep.
We'll all be watching the Heat and the Bucks tonight. Again, if Miami loses tonight and the Knicks beat the Celtics tomorrow, the Knicks will finish 4th in the Eastern Conference. Just getting started here. We're going to have the post-game comments from Tom Thibodeau coming up, as well as Wally breaking things down from the Wally Wall as the Knicks beat the Hornets this afternoon by 9 in overtime.
Nobody builds 5G like Verizon builds